Hello, everyone, and welcome to Talk of the Town. I'm Karen Buechs, your host and producer. I'd like to say to my crew in the booth, the monitor is not on in here, and I can't tell a few things. If they could come in and put it on, that'd be great. Thank you very much. I think I went on before I was supposed to go on, and maybe not gone on early enough. So, but welcome to the show, and I have a great guest on tonight. He happens to be running for county commissioner, but he's done so much more for the town previously, and I really like this guy. Please welcome Scott Vecchi.
Thank you for having me. It's great to be back on Talk of the Town. We've done this a couple of times before, and I always look forward to it. It's a great show, and I thank you for doing the great job that you do with it.
Oh, thank you, Scott. I was pleased when I heard you were running for county commissioner. We need someone from Plymouth. Why don't you tell us why we need someone from Plymouth? It's always a good idea.
I'll start by introducing myself to those people who don't know me. My name is Scott Vecchi. I'm from Plymouth. I live right down the street on Cherry Street. I was born and raised in the town of Plymouth, and my family goes back to 7 of the original Pilgrims. So the joke is, which Pilgrim was Vecchi? They stopped in Sicily, picked him up. He was the cook. They don't really talk about him that much. Sorry, that's just a joke.
They ate well.
My father's side is the Italian side. My mother's side is the Sawyer Baileys, and they go back to the boat. And I'm a member of the Alden Society, the Mayflower Society, and I've only documented 3 of the 7 lines, but you don't get much more Plymouth than that. Being born at the Jordan Hospital, being raised in Plymouth, graduate of Plymouth Carver, class of '87.
Oh, that was a big class.
That was a big class, and I've moved away a couple of times, but I've more or less lived my entire life in the town of Plymouth.
Yeah.
I am a retired gunnery sergeant of Marines. I got retired. I got sick when we were in Iraq in 2006, and when I came back, I got retired. It's been a little over 19 years in the Marine Corps. The first 4 active duty, the rest of them the reserves. We got called back up 3 times after 9/11. So for 5 years, I was a police officer. Then I was in the Marine Corps, then I came back to be a police officer, and I was back in the Marine Corps. We bounced back and forth for about 5 years. I'm a retired police sergeant. I retired on my birthday in December. I was very happy. Just about 32 years of service.
Wow.
27 of them here in Plymouth. I worked for the Suffolk County. I worked here as a part-time police officer in like '92. Worked at the Suffolk County Sheriff for a year and a half. Worked at the Transit Police for 3 years. Then I came back down here and spent the 27 years until I retired.
Wow.
So and I had a great career. I was able to do a lot of great things, motorcycles, SWAT.
I know.
I ran street crimes. I was the detective sergeant for a little while. I just had a great and wonderful career.
You had a well-rounded career.
Yeah.
I used to see you in your SWAT gear on Facebook, and it was quite the thing to see. And all the equipment and the machinery.
A lot of great experiences. A lot of tough things. I got shot at 2 or 3 times, but we were able to safely take people into custody and get them the help they needed if they were in crisis and all that other stuff. I'm also an attorney. I'm currently working with Miller and Associates out of Mansfield.
Oh.
So I have my office here in Plymouth, and the main office is in Mansfield. I was actually, before I came here, I was doing a little lawyer work, and so that's the VA sent me to law school after I got retired.
Good.
So I did 5 years, nights and weekends, and I passed the bar in 2013. So I've been an attorney for just over 10 years, and the one thing they don't tell you in law school is that when you first start doing it, it's a very slow process until you build your client base and all that. But I joined Miller and Associates to start doing bankruptcy law.
Oh, sure.
And with the economy the way it is and all that other stuff, that there's a lot of people who are in crisis financially and they need a second chance. And most people don't know that the bankruptcies are written into the Constitution. the Congress, they shall make courts for bankruptcies and all that other stuff. It's in there all the way back to the Constitution, and really, I see it as a way for me to help people, and help people that are drowning in high interest credit card debt, that got a little over their heads and they need a second chance to be successful. I also work. I also work right down the street for a coastal ambulance part-time.
Wow, Scott, I don't know how you do half the stuff, and we're going to get into but we have a phone call. Hello, you're on Talk of the Town.
Hi, yes, thank you. My name is Zeke Lewis. What are some of the things this country isn't doing that you'd like to see do?
Oh, that's a good question.
The country or the county?
County.
Oh, sorry, the county.
The county could do so much more, and part of why I'm running is because I see the potential that the county has. When all of the western counties were shuttered years back, Plymouth was a viable county. It was financially viable. It was providing good services. And there's basically 4 different parts of my platform. Actually, we added a 5th part to my platform. The first one is public safety. Do you remember Diana Lothrop, the old county administrator?
Yes.
A wonderful lady. She was really like a mentor to me.
Fixture.
And she was almost like a second mother. She guided me. But all the way back when she was the county administrator, there was a plan for a county fire training facility, and what they call a burn building.
Right.
What it does is they burn hay. It creates a lot of smoke. It allows the firefighters to work in their SCBA gear to practice in that smoke environment, and it gives us better trained firefighters for all of the municipalities in the county. All 27 communities would benefit by having better trained firefighters. And right now, a lot of people don't know that the county owns a couple of acres in Bridgewater. The State Fire Academy has started using the old prison to run fire classes.
Oh.
So instead of duplicating services, whereas we own a parcel right adjacent to where they are, we could work in partnership to complement services, because duplication of services is never efficient.
No.
So if we, and like I said, I have the original plans for it and all that other stuff. Originally it was designed to be on the woodlot, but with the Fire Academy at the prison in Bridgewater and the county owning some parcels over there, I'm thinking that might be the best place for it. And again, these are all concepts, and they change with more information that's provided.
Sure.
You have to be flexible. You can't just be rigid.
Right.
So what I see happening is if we work in partnership with some grants, it's basically a big cement building that they burn hay in and the firefighters can train in.
Excellent.
But a few weeks back, my girlfriend's house, the CO2 alarms were going off. And I thought, what's the first thing you think? It may be a malfunction.
Sure.
So I walked around and I was like, it can't smell carbon monoxide, but I was like, it doesn't really feel like her furnace had backfired.
Oh,
And,
which happens a lot.
Which happened,
Yeah.
and her furnace backfired and filled the house with carbon monoxide. And we were running errands, and we came home, and her daughter was there. So I said, you know what? Let me be safe. Let's call a fire department. Let's have somebody come over with a CO detector and see what's the matter. And the big red truck pulled up, and they got off, and the house was loaded with carbon monoxide.
Wow.
And her
Oh,
daughter
that's so
actually wound up going to the
dangerous.
hospital and
Sure.
having to get oxygen therapy for a couple hours or whatever. But with that type of personal experience, so recently, I would want those guys on that big red truck to be the best trained firefighters we could possibly have. And much like if they came to my girlfriend's house, if they came to your house or anybody in the county's house, I want them to be as trained as they can. And I think that the county fire training facility is a viable thing that the county can do.
Absolutely.
One of the things that people say is like, what is Plymouth County? What does Plymouth County do? And it's really an invisible layer of government, because down south or out west, you would leave Plymouth and drive for 20 or 25 miles before you hit Kingston. And all of that's called unincorporated territory. It's not incorporated into a municipality, so the county has primary jurisdiction. And in that sense,
Okay.
the county is a bigger form of government and a more visible form. But if we put Plymouth County Fire Training Facility on the side of the building and people see Plymouth County, it's providing a service,
Right.
then people will understand what the county
That's
does.
good thinking, Scott, because people don't understand what the county does, and we're going to talk about that a little bit. I understand we have another phone call. Hello, you're on Talk of the Town.
Hi, thank you for taking my call.
You're welcome.
I wanted to ask, what are your thoughts on the county opening an animal shelter in this region of the county?
Oh,
And that's actually a topic that's come up recently in some discussions that
an
I've been having.
animals shelter.
There's a southeastern rescue up in Brockton.
Yeah.
But if you look at have you ever been to the Plymouth Animal Shelter here in Plymouth? It's
Yes.
very old. You know what I
Yes.
mean? And the people that work there do a wonderful job.
Yeah.
I was friends with Laurie and Joan and all those people that work down there. But one of the concepts of regionalization is, could Plymouth County open an animal shelter in a public-private partnership? You know what I mean? Partner with a nonprofit like Friends of the Plymouth Pound or something like that, and actually build a newer and larger animal rescue facility. And I know there's lots of when I ran a previous race, I was looking at needs the needs dogs, which are service dogs, and New England Lab Rescue, and there's so many things. But if the county provided that service, again, like we just talked about, the Plymouth County Animal Rescue, people see county, they understand the county's providing them a service.
Right.
The other thing it would do is also help out like the smaller towns, Kingston, Halifax,
Sure, they would
Carver,
come.
all those smaller towns. You know what I mean? So when they have a finite amount of space and resources. When you bring everybody together and you regionalize services, you save money.
That's
and you
right.
provide a better service. And the funny thing is and I'll actually give a couple props to my Friday partner on the ambulance. She just rescued a Flemish giant rabbit. Somebody had left it in a parking lot.
They're
And-
huge.
Oh yes, it's like this big. It's a small
Yeah.
dog, and my friend Shannon, she rescues cats and she's a wonderful person, but the thing is there wasn't like a resource that could help with something like that.
Sure.
So and she found this giant rabbit Benjamin a great home. With somebody who works at the aquarium rescuing, I think, turtles or something. But like I said, if there's that type of activity happening in the small towns of Plimpton and Halifax and Carver and all those other things, and we regionalize the service, there would be more resources because we're pooling them and they're
love
partnering
that
with a nonprofit.
idea, Scott. I
So,
love that
and
idea.
I love dogs. I have
I know.
I have a just shy of 6-month-old black lab puppy who was
He's
running around the
adorable.
house like a lunatic before I came here. And and I have my older 12-year-old chocolate lab.
Teaching him, yeah.
And so if we can help animals, you know what I mean? That's because animals depend on us. Like when my little black
Yeah.
lab puppy looks at me, like I'm his whole world.
I know.
And you want to, like I said, provide those loving dogs and cats and all that other stuff, a safe place if they need to find a new forever home.
That's a wonderful, wonderful thing, Scott. That's because you have such a big heart. So, Scott, tell me what else you'd like to see the county do.
One of the things is we talked about public safety. The other one is education. What most people don't realize is Plymouth County does not have an agricultural school.
I would love to
so
see an agricultural school.
If we and I don't want to build a giant Plymouth North High School. I'm not saying let's spend $15 million.
Right.
I'm saying let's have the county spend about $100,000 to conduct a feasibility study. Right now, if you had a family member who wanted to go to the agricultural school, Plymouth would have to pay either Norfolk or Bristol $20,000 per student and provide transportation.
Wow.
And most of the smaller towns are right to farm towns. So there's a lot of agriculture
we are.
in the county.
Yeah.
And so the question is it feasible? You have a lot going on right around us. Southeastern VOTEC has a horticultural program. You have the blue economy across the bay in Duxbury Harbor where they're oyster farming.
Nice, I know.
And can we bring all of these things together? I mean, the county owns a farm. The sheriff manages it right now. He's taking care of all the cows and all that other stuff. So can we use that has a deed restriction on it that it has to remain agricultural for I think 99 years or something like
yes.
that. So with all of these small pieces in place, why wouldn't we want to do a feasibility study and see if this is something that we could get off the ground? We don't have to build a whole new school. If you see the charter school right down the street here is in more or less a space building, office buildings type stuff. There's some schools around the county that are in disuse.
You could do
that
it in a
be
barn.
rehabbed. You could,
In a farm.
See even if you started small. But the whole thing is what I'd like to do is this feasibility study to see, is this a viable thing? Is this something that we should proceed? What are our next steps? And if it's not feasible, then we stop and we don't do it.
We have another phone call.
Sure.
I'll cautiously say hello.
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 What are you hearing about the woodlot?
That's actually a very good question. Right now, the Boston South, the county has signed an agreement with Boston South, and Boston South is pursuing the development of the woodlot. For those who don't know what the woodlot is, many of our viewers might not. It is a 109-acre piece of county property that's right behind Camelot Park off of Exit 5, off of Long Pond
Right.
Road. And I actually used to live right next to it. I used to live on Gunners Exchange. So I'm pretty familiar with it. My office is down in Camelot Park. So right now, the Boston South is proposing to develop it, and I haven't received the full presentation.
You will.
I'm sure I will. The wave points that I've seen so far, a 40R district appears to be a good thing for both the county and the town of Plymouth, because it would allow the town of Plymouth to stop any new 40B projects.
It stops 40Bs cold. And if anybody sues a 40R, they can't get anywhere. Even if they did, they would have to pay all the expenses because they would lose. 40R is protected by the state.
And I'm not positive, but I'm pretty sure. I think over at the old Walmart, the Harbor Walk Apartments, I believe that might have been a 40R.
Yes, Cottage Park was a 40R years ago.
Yeah. So from what I've seen, there's some very beneficial things to their proposal. We were just having this discussion that with all of these things in place, it is very important that we have a commissioner from Plymouth, and somebody such as myself, who everybody on every board and committee in the town of Plymouth knows, and I would like to think trusts.
Scott Wood, you would be a great liaison because you have breathed, and lived in Plymouth all your life, basically 99% of the time. You know Plymouth inside and out, and you want us to succeed. I know you do. And to answer the woman's question, that Boston South will go through the process just like everybody else, and everybody will have a chance to. But it stops 40Bs cold. It brings millions into the town, and for county and Plymouth, but mainly Plymouth. And it brings in life sciences. Life sciences are interested in coming in.
And but on all of these things, like I said, I haven't received the full.
You will.
I will. But one of the most important things is that we have a commissioner from Plymouth who understands Plymouth, and not only can look out for the best interest of Plymouth, that this development follows the master plan, it follows the traffic plan, it follows all of these things.
Right.
But I believe that I can bridge the gap and heal the wounds between the town of Plymouth and the county, because the town and the county haven't always gotten along. And I really believe that I'm the person that can heal that rift.
Oh, I am so glad you said that, because that is a true statement. And John Mahoney has tried. He was a liaison for many years, and for the selectmen to the county. And he was so discouraged. And I don't know what to say about that. I wasn't privy to all those meetings, but I know what John went through. And we do need someone from Plymouth to watch out for Plymouth. Not that you wouldn't be watching out for
the
your other
watch out-
towns,
yeah,
of
we
the
watch out for all
county,
27 communities.
but you live here.
But the thing is if Plymouth succeeds and the county succeeds, then that lets the county provide more services to the other 26 communities as well.
Yes.
Because, and like you said, you know, if this project brings a new revenue stream into the county, and right now the county's primary revenue stream is the registry of deeds.
Right,
And
which is down.
And the real estate isn't moving.
Yeah.
They only get 10 cents on the dollar. They used to get more. And it's down to a trickle. So, and right now, I believe they're in a $900,000 deficit. That they're going to use the rainy day fund to backfill that, but it's still a $900,000 deficit. So we need to look for new revenue streams, which is another part of my the 5 parts of my campaign was public safety, education, green energy. I believe in green energy, net zero, and what my thoughts on that is I would like to see small ground-mounted solar arrays near the county buildings to just offset the fixed cost of those specific buildings.
But you know you can't do much without, I mean, it's powered by coal.
Well, like I said, the goal of solar is just to reduce the carbon footprint.
Yeah.
And like I said, I like solar panels. I don't remember if you came to my big house on Gunners Exchange.
No.
I had solar panels on the roof. I think it's good. It's not going to replace fossil fuels. It's not, you know what I mean? But you can
Good,
use
I'm glad you said
You
that.
can use it to supplement, you know what I mean? And,
Yeah.
and like I said, renewable energy can supplement, but it's not going to completely replace. So we got public safety, education, green energy, revenue streams, developing new revenue
Yeah.
streams. And the analogy I use is when I retired from the police department, all right, what they don't tell you until you go to the retirement offices, you're not going to get a check for a while.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so you don't get a check for a month or two.
Okay.
And I don't know anybody that can live for a month or two without a check. So I said, well, Scott needs to develop new revenue streams. So I downloaded the Uber app and I drove Uber for a little while to bring some revenue streams in. Right before I retired, I had gotten my EMT license. So I got a job over down the street at Coastal Ambulance. I work Tuesdays and Fridays for Coastal Ambulance. And it's a wonderful job. I actually really enjoy it.
Where are they based out of?
They're the next road over. It's
North Plymouth.
Yeah. We're on Collins, and they're on Apollo 11.
Okay.
Yeah, they're all the way, the next road over all the way down.
Okay.
But they're primarily an ambulance service from the Cape. So like tomorrow, I'm going to work out of Hyannis, is their base.
Oh.
And mostly what we do is interfacility transport, which we. People who are in rehabs and assisted living,
Yeah.
and they need to go to dialysis or they need to go to an appointment, a wound clinic or something like that. And for some of these people, we're the only people that they really interact with, and we get to take them out for a ride and they get to go to their appointment. And I like to think that I brighten up their day.
Yep.
And you make like a connection with them. And so I really enjoy it. We do a little bit of the 911 stuff because Coastal has the contract in Middleborough. And like yesterday, I wound up in 2 different ERs. We had to take somebody to the Morton Hospital emergency room, and then
Yeah.
a little later on, we had to take somebody to the Toby emergency room. So it's a good mix, but I really like it because it lets me keep helping.
Well, you've always done it. How many years now? But we have another phone call.
Oh, great.
Hello, you're on Talk of the Town.
I think I've got a phone call.
Hello?
I think I have a phone call coming in.
Hey, hang up, Dustin. Thank you. So, where were we?
We were talking about
Your 5 points.
Yeah, so my 5 points: public safety, education, green energy, developing new revenue streams, and exploring a county animal rescue.
I love that, and the agriculture.
Yep, that's under the education aspect.
I love that.
So we're back to like the people don't understand that Plymouth County, the county commissioners, they're analogous to selectmen. They're a 3-member board. They're part-time government, just like the selectmen are. They meet, every other week over at the county administration building. They do
Here in Plymouth.
Here in Plymouth.
I've been there.
Yeah.
I went to a few meetings years ago.
So, like I said, the people don't really understand what they do because they don't see them. And if they were providing more services that people saw on a daily basis, like the fire training facility, like the animal rescue,
It's a no-brainer.
like an agricultural
and
school.
You came up with that.
Yep. And The the agricultural school was actually an idea that somebody in Brockton talked to me about, and I thought it was a great idea. And that's the one thing is and same with the animal rescue. There was somebody else, kind of started talking about this concept, and I said, "Do you mind if I run with this? Because I think this is a great thing." And I think one of my strong points is that I don't have all the answers, and that I really think that when you start talking to people, you can't just talk to people. You need to listen to people. And you need to what's the message? What are they receiving? What are their thoughts? And you all work together to build ideas.
I'll never forget. It was one of the things about you. It was right after my husband died. I did a show with you, or was it right before? It was right after.
I think it was right after.
And
I still miss him.
oh, I know, but I'm not saying that for this.
Okay.
We were talking, and it was after the show. And somebody came up and interrupted us. And I started to walk away, and you grabbed me and you said, "I want to hear what you were saying." And you looked right at me, and you made me feel so much better. And so when you say, "I listen," you really do. You're not a hit and run.
Yeah, and because nobody has all the answers. And if you and how many we know a lot of politicians who they think that their way is the best way, and they don't really take as much constructive feedback as they could.
Right.
And I take the exact opposite approach. I think that I do have things to that ideas and things that I think are the right
But
way
you're
to
a
do
worker.
things. Like when we were on the Charter Commission, what I sat there every day and I said, what intelligent contribution can I make in this meeting? You know what I mean? And I tried to I threw a couple of good nuggets here and there as far as things that we're doing with my legal background and all the 15 years I spent as an elected or appointed. The one thing we didn't talk about was the habitat.
Oh, yes, you just did that, and the redevelopment.
So what our viewers might not understand is that I've been an elected or appointed in the town of Plymouth for 15 years. I served on the as a town meeting member, and I used to love sitting there with the older folks and listening to the stories and all that other stuff. And why? Because they educated me on what was the institutional knowledge of town meeting.
What was behind everything?
And,
Yeah.
then I served on the Charter Review Committee, and then I served on the Historic District Commission, which I loved. I thought that was a great board. They do great things, and people don't see how they keep downtown as tourist friendly as they do.
They work hard.
They work hard, and they do a good job. Then I was on the Charter Review Commission, which we worked hard, and like I said, but the end product didn't pass. And right now I'm elected to the Redevelopment Authority.
Right.
And I'm the vice chair of the Plymouth Redevelopment Authority. Stephen Michael Palmer is the chair.
Yes.
And
he's a nice man.
And we had a vote last Wednesday to proceed. That the town has given us a tax title property. There was a piece of property down in Manomet that somebody didn't pay the taxes on.
Yes.
And so the town took it for non-payment of taxes.
Good.
And just like a week or two ago, it cleared land court, that the title had been cleared. And we voted to proceed with Habitat for Humanity to build a home for a needy family on this parcel down in Manomet. It's a small parcel. It's a quarter-acre lot.
Love it.
But if we can help one needy family, that's wonderful.
Absolutely.
But if we can use this as a template and look around for other tax title properties and help more needy families.
That's excellent. That should have been going on for a long time.
So, and like I said, I'm still excited. I mean, we voted on it last Wednesday.
Yeah.
Habitat came in, they gave their presentation. Amy Belmore did a wonderful job with her presentation, and she's very, very deeply committed to Habitat. And I can't wait to see this, see the fruit, as
It is wonderful. We were associated with Habitat with Humanity many, many years ago. they built a house way down in the southern sector of Plymouth, and I remember we came in and filmed it, and it was just wonderful, just to see what a family, I think it was a family of 4, that got that house, and they would never have been able to. And there's rules.
Oh, yeah.
You know, you have to do certain things, and you
And it-
can't sell
And
that
it has
house.
to maintain. But if
Yeah.
you do, it stays as an affordable. And they
Yes.
have to sell it in the affordable market to a family. Goes, I believe Habitat gets right of first refusal, and then it goes
Yeah.
back into the pool of needy families.
Right.
And Habitat administers it again.
That's Red Brook is trying to bring in housing for the elderly, the needy now down in Red Brook. But I'm glad you're involved with those things.
And a long time ago, somebody told me something very simple: try and leave the world a better place than you found it. And and that's how I look at things. And like when I work on the ambulance, sometimes I can brighten up somebody's day, by we take them for a ride. They get some fresh air. We talk to them. We cheer them up a little bit before they go back to the rehab or the nursing home or wherever they're staying right now. I've made some good friendships, and so when I do that, I try and make everybody's day a little better than it was before I got there. Being involved in politics. I've actually, even though some of the races I've lost.
We all have, yeah.
I've seen my opponents take my ideas and carry them out.
Of course.
And so to me, did you lose? No, I
No,
won.
yeah.
I won because somebody
That's
took
good
this
of you.
idea and ran with it. And maybe it was an opponent, but but the concept that I had, became reality.
Reality.
So if you can effectuate change, even if you there's races you win, there's races you don't. But in a race you don't, technically win, if you still effectuate change, then you've left the world a better place.
Of course, absolutely. Your hubris is good for the world. Yeah. So, so what the primary is September.
September 3rd.
And that's where people like Matt Moratori, Dee Wallace Spencer run, and Mark Pacheco.
Pacheco.
That's that race. For
Yeah. You're talking about Joe Pacheco.
Joe, yes,
Joe
Marcus
Pacheco.
is
Yeah,
Joe.
that's a different one.
Yeah.
No. The thing is this year there's so many races that became open seats or are just up in the air. There's so much movement in politics, and that's what people don't realize is a lot of people are so turned off by the national level politics, but at the local level,
That's where it's at.
the public has the power to effectuate change in this
Yeah.
cycle like never before. You have open seats. Who thought Josh Cutler was going to? Josh Cutler. He went up to the Healy administration. So Vecchi is running for his seat. You had Susan Moran. Nobody thought that she was going to change
I didn't think
and shift
that
gears.
yeah.
So that opened her seat. Then when Matt decided to run for that opened
For the
his seat.
Senate,
Then
yeah.
there's so many things right around us that are in flux that it's. I hope that the public can realize that just because maybe our national level politics are turning everybody off, the local level politics are so important in this cycle because the voting public has the ability to effectuate change like never before.
Well, that's where it's always at. Some famous politician said that all politics is local.
All politics are local.
And if you don't affect the change there, you're screwed. Yeah. You have to get good people into good seats.
And
You have to know who you're voting for.
And my life has been an open book. As you know,
Yeah.
you've known me for a long time.
Yeah.
I'm far from perfect. I try very hard
Nobody
to
is.
be a good person
Yeah.
and to make positive change. But like no other time before, the town of Plymouth needs a commissioner from Plymouth. And we haven't had a commissioner from Plymouth in over 40 years. I tried to look back and find the last time.
It's been that long?
I couldn't find a commissioner from Plymouth. Wow. And Plymouth is the county seat. It's where what's basically left of the county exists The woodlot is the woodlot, the capped landfill. Those are the biggest land parcels that the county owns, and they're right here in Plymouth. And with a giant proposed development project, like I said, whether you like me or don't, we need a Plymouth resident as a commissioner to not only protect Plymouth, but to effectuate positive change, which would benefit the other 27 communities through the revenue streams that it could bring in. And that's really what's important is somebody who has Plymouth's best interest at heart, but also the other 26 communities as well, because they could reap the fruits if this is successful.
When you hear about other states, they have counties. Their counties, I think, are stronger.
And that goes back to that unincorporated territory down south
because
and out west.
Because there's so much land.
Yeah. Because the county provides a lot more services. They provide schools, they provide DPW, they provide water and sewer and all that other stuff. So if you go down south and out west, the county is actually the bigger form of government. It supersedes. Down in Maryland, they have county police. They don't.
That's right, they do.
If you're in Anne Arundel County, that's down where my oldest son lives. So.
I wasn't happy when the sheriff was taken out of the county business.
That's a whole rabbit hole we could go down, but
no, I don't care to talk about it. It's just the fact that I went into shock.
Yeah. Well, it almost bankrupted the county is basically what happened.
Yeah.
And just people don't realize what a revenue stream that some of those things are, civil process and all that other stuff, and the beds they rent, was a huge revenue stream into the county. And when that was taken away from the county, that's when the county almost folded. But like I said, Plymouth County's always been viable. It's always been financially solvent. And, and it did bounce back. Maybe not to the position it was in before, but we have the possibility now to make it as vibrant as it was before and more, and to make it one of those strong county governments that provide services for all the members of the 27 communities that make up Plymouth County. And whether you're in Marion or whether you're in Hull or whether you're in Brockton or Plymouth, the county should be able to provide services that you see. It does provide a lot of services. I'm not saying they're not doing anything, but most of the services they provide are that invisible layer. You know what I mean? And people who go when they refinance a house and they go see Mr. Buckley at the Registry of Deeds.
I love him.
Great man, great man. But they don't realize that that's part of county government. You know what I mean? When I went into probate court when I got divorced, that's part of county government. The Mayflower Municipal Health Care that's administered by the treasurer, Tom O'Brien, the county retirement system, like all these things are invisible layers that are important services that are provided, but people just don't see them because it's not a building that says Plymouth County on the side of it, and it's not a service that they interact with on a daily basis.
Right.
So the county actually has to do a better job of selling itself as this is why the county is relevant. This is what the county is doing for you on a daily basis. And I think that I possess the abilities to do that, to reach out to the people and to say, hey, look, this is what we're doing for you. This is what we're trying to make your communities better. We're trying to make your communities safer, more educated. We're trying to reduce your energy costs, reduce the fixed cost to the county in energy. We're trying to provide an animal rescue that benefits all 27 communities. And there are, like I said, there's already one in Brockton that's up that way, but the county is a very big place, and there's plenty of animals that need help. So I don't think that you'd want for the people that were looking for those services.
And which I say to you, to run for county commissioner is no easy task.
Oh, a county campaign is a big campaign.
It's enormous, and that's why a lot of people don't take it on. It's a total commitment, and you have to know your areas.
Mm-hmm.
And, Tom O'Brien is from Kingston. Mm-hmm. And
did he move to Plymouth?
What?
I thought he moved to Plymouth.
Did he?
Not sure.
I'm not sure either.
I thought he moved to Plymouth. Anyway.
I don't know. I'm sorry, Tom, if I have you living in Kingston, but I haven't seen him for so long. But it's one of those things that you're right. Scott, people don't understand. By the way, have you talked to the League of Women Voters yet?
I haven't talked to them as a body. I've
Yeah.
talked to some of their members, but I haven't talked to the league as a body. And right now, the phase of the campaign that we're in is filling out nomination papers.
Yeah, you have to the
and-
28th of April.
And they have to be to the town clerks by the 28th of April. We need 1,000 signatures just to get on the ballot.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where the focus of the campaign is right now, is filling out the nomination papers, getting people to sign. I don't know if people have seen me. I've been at the
Everywhere.
Bridgewater dump. I've been in front of Stop and Shop. I'm at the library. I'm standing in front of Town Hall. I'm all over the place. I have other people helping me that are out there gathering signatures as well. But one of the things is there's a lot of apathy in this cycle. And like I said, the people that are turned off by the national politics don't realize that, that's turning off a lot of people, but the local politics are hugely important in this cycle. And so, getting out there and getting the signatures just to get on the ballot is the process we're in. We're doing very well. You know what I mean? I don't see a problem with me getting on the ballot. That's definitely going to happen. But like I said, there's a lot of work that's involved. And even today, I was, running around today. It was raining, so I couldn't stand in front of Stop and Shop or anywhere. So I was out doing the logistical parts. I had to get new business cards. I had, I had to go out and I had to take some nomination papers that were filled out and drop them off with the clerk so they could be verified. So I've been running around all day because the one thing that I can tell you right now is nobody will work harder for you than I will.
Oh.
And that's the thing is
I believe that.
When I bite into something, sometimes I'm a little too plain spoken.
You're like me.
And a little too direct when I'm talking about things or to people. So I try not to hurt anybody's feelings, but sometimes the gunnery sergeant of Marines, you know what I mean? Like he's out to accomplish a task. He's task focused.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I got to remember that sometimes we got to kind of dial it down a little bit, and we got to sugarcoat some things. Maybe give somebody a hug if they need it.
Yeah. You know your audience.
Yeah, and that's what, like I said, when we're dealing with the boards and the committees in Plymouth, if this project moves forward, they're going to need somebody that they know and that they trust and they know is plain spoken. That, hey, look, this is what it is, and this is what we're doing, and this is what we, you know what I mean?
Well, that's why I'm glad you listened, because if people heard the full presentation, which I have many times, and know all the ins and outs about it, it's a no-brainer. It's fabulous. But people have to understand it, and there's a lot of moving parts.
Yep.
The state, the county,
The state has to approve the 40R, then it has to go in front of
state has to come in and do the Long Pond Road, which they're looking forward to do.
That's a good point, and like I said, I got the abbreviated process, and with the proposed traffic plan, from my understanding and what I've been told, I haven't delved in and read this in depth. It's supposed to cut the traffic on Long Pond Road in half.
Measurably.
And when I bought my house on Gunners Exchange in 1998, there was
in
a
the dark ages.
There was a stop sign at the end of the road to the jail. There was There was a stop sign at the bottom of the highway ramp, and there was a stop sign at Skippy's.
Yes.
And it was one lane in each direction the whole way. And so we went from that to 5+ lanes of craziness every day at 3 o'clock.
Yeah.
So what I want to do is later on when this traffic plan comes out, I really want to delve into it and understand it, because if there's a way to cut the traffic on Long Pond Road in half,
absolutely,
then we definitely need to explore that. Like I said, Long Pond Road right now, if we from 1998 to now, is night and day.
Oh, when we moved here in '73, if 5 cars went by the house, that was a traffic jam. Okay. Unbelievable. Unbelievable now.
When I was a kid, not to tell too many old-time stories, but in 1980, we built a house, number 1 Sleepy Hollow Drive, right on the corner of Sleepy Hollow and Federal Furnace. And I think it was 9 cars went by that day.
Yeah.
all day.
All day, all night, all day.
Because that was, that part of that far out of downtown was the boonies.
Boonies.
And 495 didn't connect to 25 and 495
That's
didn't
right,
connect.
it wasn't
so
there.
nobody went that way. You had to go down the old 44
Yeah.
if you were going anywhere. So nobody drove out Federal Furnace unless you had a reason to. So.
That's right.
And like I said, the old days downtown. When I was a little kid, we lived on Stevens Field. When you walked through the center of town,
sure.
you knew everybody you saw, or you knew whose family they were from. And but a funny story is, who used to get me in the most trouble? Steve Viella's dad, the mailman.
Really?
Because Steve Viella's dad was the mailman, and he would walk around and deliver the mail, and he'd see what I was doing all day.
Oh.
And then he'd tell my dad.
Of course, that's the way it was back then.
And my dad would be like, "Oh, so you got thrown out of M&Ms, and Chet yelled at you over at the boys' club, and you were being a jerk in the library, and they had a whole report." But that
You had a stalker.
that was small town Plymouth.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That you knew everybody, and it's so different than it was.
Yeah.
Back in the '70s. I lived at Blizzard of '78. I lived on Stevens Field. It was, and it's sad that type of Plymouth will come again no more. But any growth we have going forward needs to be smart growth.
Yeah.
It needs to be very,
We
very well
need
planned.
economic development, Scott, because the taxes next year are going to go through the roof. They're going to, whatever you're paying now, 6.9 is going to be tacked onto it, maybe more because the schools are coming back in the fall. So it could go to 7.2, 7.6. On top of what you're paying, that's enormous. What you need is economic development, smart economic.
And we've talked for years about expanding our commercial tax base.
That's
And when you expand the commercial tax base, you take the burden off the residential tax base.
That's right.
So that's why I'm very intrigued by this Boston South proposal, because like I said, there's a lot of numbers being thrown around, and it all needs to be vetted by the planning board
Yeah.
and all that other stuff. But some of the things that I've seen out of this, which would be that expansion of the commercial tax base, which would bring more money into the town of Plymouth, which could, one, provide more services. It would allow the town to provide more services. It would allow the county to provide more services.
Do you know the first shovel that goes into the ground, the first machine that takes anything out? The town gets $670,000, one check from the state. Then as it progresses, it goes along like that. And when it's a 20-year build-out anyway. So as it progresses, the town gets more and more. And 15, 20 years, 12, 15, 20 years, this town could be getting $30, $40 million
I
in taxes from that development.
So some of the talk that I've heard, in different boards and committees and stuff like that, I think there's a little bit of sticker shock involved. When people
not used
people are
to it.
focusing on the build out,
Yeah.
and not on the initial part of it and stuff like that. But like I said, I want to be that bridge. I want to heal
The
that
road has
rift
to be taken care
between
of.
the county and the town
Yeah.
to get all these things done.
It has to be the perfect plan. And we know the guy that's been doing it for a long time, and he's a genius as far as I'm concerned. So, and I know you're going to be a great liaison.
And like I said, it's such an important time. And am I perfect? I'm far from perfect.
Nobody's
but
perfect,
But I
Lord.
believe that if you had to ask anybody in the town, anybody who knows me, whether I would be a good representative of the people, I think that they would all
You
agree.
have to be a bridge. It's never one way. It's a cooperation.
Yeah, yeah. And like I said, we, as we age, and and I'm in that retirement age now and stuff like that. I think that we refine ourselves quite a bit. You know what I mean?
yeah.
And we learn from all our life
better.
experiences, and we try and blaze a little bit better path, and we benefit from the institutional knowledge, the historical knowledge
Helping
that
others.
we acquire along the way. And like I said, if I can serve Plymouth, serve the county, serve all the people in the 27 communities, and be the best commissioner that they've seen yet. That's my goal. I mean, maybe it's a little too altruistic of a goal. Maybe it's a high bar that I'm setting for myself.
It has to be high.
But, when it comes to somebody who speaks the truth, is upfront, and stands by their word, I mean, those aren't really qualities you see in a lot of politicians.
You don't have to say anything, but county commissioner, not so good, not so hot. It was what you could do for that certain individual. And that's not what I want. And knowing you, knowing the man you are, yes, do you fight for what you believe in? Yes. But that's okay. I'm used to voting for people who fight for people.
And one of the things that the politics right now, when we talk about the national politics, so partisan. But you have both ends of the party, both parties that are really crushing everybody in the middle. And I see myself, and actually the funny thing is, I was standing in front of Town Hall collecting signatures yesterday, and somebody asked me, they go, "What are you? Are you a Democrat or Republican?" I said, "I'm a Democrat," and he looked at me and he goes, "Communist."
Oh, gee.
And walked away. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm probably as far from a communist as you could possibly get. And
You're a red dog Democrat. We used to call them that. A conservative Democrat.
I consider myself a JFK Democrat.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And JFK was the Democrat that represented the blue collar, the working class, the union people, the people that needed a helping hand. You know what I mean? And that's on the spectrum of left and right. I believe I'm pretty much square in the middle. And am I financially conservative? Yes. I think that the government should only spend the taxpayers' money in a responsible manner and realize that it's not the government's money, it's the taxpayers' money.
Right.
And we don't waste taxpayers' money. But socially, is my social stance on things somewhat liberal at times? Yes. I have a lot of great friends who are in same-sex relationships, and nowadays, who cares about marijuana? And if they smoke weed, nobody really cares. So my social liberal side, balances against my fiscally responsible side. Democrats don't like it when you say conservative, but I'm fiscally responsible, and that brings me right in the middle of the spectrum. And I think that's where they want to see politicians who are square in the middle of the spectrum and not on each end throwing rocks at each other.
Yes, but a little push and shove and tug is okay, though, Scott.
At times, you need to dig your heels in.
You got to dig in, and I like a fighter, and you probably know where I'm coming from. But we just can't go on like we have been. But I have faith in you that you will stick up. You will know. You'll do your homework. You always do your homework. I sat with you on one of the committees, Charter Committee.
Yeah, we were on the Charter Committee, yeah.
That
was a while back, too.
That was where we were meeting at the school. Remember that?
The little theater.
Yep. And I watched you because I wasn't familiar on how, it was interesting to me to see your process. And you always listened, you waited, and then you spoke. And there was nothing you ever said that was off center. You always came in and had either a solution or harmony to get people to cooperate. That's what I saw. Not only that, but I knew you through other things. But I never sat with you, and it was quite an eye-opener.
And over the years, I've always considered you a good friend, and I know that we can reach out and talk to each other, and and come up with solutions that benefit our town.
Yeah, and that's who you are. You work so hard, and you have how many boys? 2?
Yeah, I have my oldest. He's 34. He lives down in Maryland though, and I have a beautiful going to be 3-year-old granddaughter. So.
Oh, you're a grandpa.
Oh yeah, and Amazon just delivered her packages, and I see we get the 2-minute warning, so we're
got
getting
a
ready to
2
wrap it up.
So why don't you talk and tell the people who you are, what you want to do, and
My name is Scott Vecchi. I'm running for county commissioner, and I'm asking for your vote. I have been an elected or appointed official in the town of Plymouth for over 15 years now. We've talked about the boards and committees that I've served upon. I am a retired gunnery sergeant of Marines, a retired police sergeant. I'm currently an attorney. And I have a lifetime of service to my country, to my community, to our town, and I look to continue that lifetime of service as your next county commissioner. I need your help to get there. First, with nomination signatures. We'll be out collecting signatures, and Saturday we'll be in Marshfield collecting signatures. I'm always around the town of Plymouth. If anybody can sign my papers, I'd greatly appreciate it. If you want to help with a donation or contribution, you can go to my website, which I believe is up on the screen, which is voteforvecchi.org, VOTE, the number 4, VECCHI.org. Or if you just Google Scott Vecchi, it all comes up. And I'm looking to continue my lifetime of service and serve you, the voters, and be the best county commissioner that I could possibly be and represent you in the most fair and equitable manner possible, with an acknowledgement that my responsibility comes to you, and to make sure that your needs and that your wishes are carried out above anything that I think. That we're responsible to the voters, we're responsible to our community, we're responsible to the citizens of the entire county. And I can't get there without your hope. Again, my name is Scott Vecchi. I'm asking for your vote on September 3rd and again on November 5th. Thank you very much.
thanks for tuning in. I'll see you in 2 weeks. Please vote for Scott. He's a great guy. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.